Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Standing Stone podcast. We are here to finish out what became a essentially 3-part series in this podcast. I've got Charles with me today to cover the requalify attempts for Thunder, Onyx, and Doc. We talked about how we were going to help prep them and then discussed some additional pieces of how that was going. And now we're going to talk through the actual test itself and how each of the 3 dogs did. It was a little bit different because we did something that a lot of people don't.
They say to not do. Actually.
They say to not do.
Yeah.
Okay. Who says to not do?
Well, I guess it's maybe if you're planning for it, what they say to not do is if you've ran on Friday, something went bad, you didn't like something, to not just run again the next day. Or they say... Sure. And that may have more to do with preparation, or I'm not sure, but it is definitely kind of recommended
not to do.
Yeah.
And on average, I would say for the typical person that is handling, I would also recommend not to do. But in our situation, we approached the event with these dogs are 100% ready.
Yeah.
If they have a hiccup, it is what is called a test day hiccup. They are dogs, and it would be literally that, a hiccup, not a dog that's not prepared, not a dog that fell apart. If the wheels come off, that's a different situation.
Yeah.
But we have 3 dogs that we ran them on, entered them on Friday, entered them on Sunday so that we had a backup, because the other option is, and we've already looked at that, our next option is either states away or months away.
Right.
That is where we are at. And it's a big part of the difficulty of finishing dogs out at the utility level. A lack of availability of tests due to a large number of people running the events, a quote-unquote shortage of judges, and all in all, shortage of chapters having the ability to put all of these pieces together again. It's a lot.
And we're at the end. We're kind of at the end of our
spring testing.
Yeah, because it's going to be 100 and something today. So you just start running out of options, because even a duck search, if it ends up going long, and it's 1:00 in the afternoon, a dog can get in trouble. So you just kind of run out of time.
So we're going to go through how the actual test went. Thunder, Onyx, and Doc, none of the 3 of them went as I would have expected them to. But
yeah, me neither.
None of them went as I would have expected them to.
One of them did.
Okay. All of that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into this. We want to break down each of the events each day and kind of cover what happened, why it happened, and essentially where we can go from here, moving forward with what they're going to be doing in the future testing-wise, and break this down from what we're doing as professionals, how you can apply this to a thought process with yourself as training. This podcast is all about helping people to understand how to be able to train themselves, the same as what our YouTube videos are, teaching you to train dogs. This is more conversation based on how we're training dogs, how we're prepping for tests and events, how we prep for hunting season, and all those pieces. So let's go ahead and jump into the Friday event. I do think that we can lead. Let's go ahead and lead off with Thunder. He ran first.
Yep.
Okay. So
first out of the gate. First dog of the day as well.
First dog of the day, first dog of the 3.
I did end up only having that day. We lost some dogs, so it was only the 3 boys. So there was a few times that I was jogging. I'll say jogging back and forth
to keep things rolling.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and see then. I don't know. Thunder received a 191 prize 2. I'm going to do it. We're just breaking it out there. 191 prize 2.
Guess now where it was.
Yeah. Well, we were in the field in the morning. It looked essentially flawless.
Yeah, I couldn't have.
What can you
for anything to do? Couldn't have asked for anything more on his field run. It was,
which is kind of an expectation.
Yep.
The dogs have been there, done that. He's a master hunter. He has hunted literally thousands of quail, steady and wing shot and fall at the ranch.
I'm going to go tens of thousands. and not even
probably at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how many we've released and how many. I mean, we have all the data. We know exactly.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say tens of thousands.
Which I know you can throw it in the comments. That's an unrealistic number, but in this situation, it is a more accurate than less than an exaggeration. It's more accurate than an exaggeration. So, and this does include, again, so that there's clarification, it includes wild birds as well as pen-raised birds, but handled steady to wing, shot, and fall, backing all of the pieces that are even above and beyond what the utility test asks for.
Yep.
So his field run looked flawless.
Yeah, it's these. Yeah, it's very nice to just run a field and just almost not even be nervous about it. I mean, you're always nervous because of the test and you're starting, but it's if something would have went wrong, it would have been because it was a really tough situation, or did not feel like he was going to do anything. And if he had even, I don't know, maybe it would have been like going right before I touch his head to send him or something. I mean, just something that wouldn't have really mattered. And he didn't even do that. He was as steady as a rock.
I will tell on myself. Gunning. Yeah. Uncle Rich, who falls into the category of one of the best wing shooters that I know. And myself, who I don't want to say one of the best, but I'm pretty good, especially in this training type of environment. Birds that fly straight away and get killed happens. We talked about it because he asked me, he's like, how many cases of shells do you shoot a year? So, well, we go through 20 cases of training shells per year. 20 cases. Now, trap shooters, consistent, competitive shooting, you're going to do more than that. But I don't know very many people that would touch 20 cases of 20 gauge shells in a year shooting over dogs.
It's going to be even worse this year because I switched to 20. That was with you. True. I was shooting a 12.
Yeah, that's just with me.
Yeah.
Oof. I like that silver pigeon has got to be on the edge of being worn out.
Considering, well, if yours is worn out, I want to know how many the ranch have shot because some of them are getting up there and a little long in the tooth.
So,
and they're still kicking. So
I struggled just a little bit. No birds got away in his run.
Nope.
But they did take 2 or 3 shots sometimes. Boom, I missed. And I will make, here's my excuse. It's not an excuse because I just missed, but it was very, very, very wet the first morning.
Very wet.
So when you have birds that don't fly in normal flight patterns, they're either up and down faster, their flight pattern is slow. It changes. What is a typical pattern for you to swing on a bird that you shoot all the time? They fly at a relatively similar pace and pattern. Swing out that way, boom, you kill it. Swing out this way, boom, you kill it. Flutter and think you're going down and then catch their wing and keep going. I know myself, I shot in front of a bird that started to go down. I was like, shoot, I pulled out in front of that because I expected it to keep going. Or I shot over top of it because it kind of dipped and then flew.
Mm-hmm.
And, Rich fell in that same category. We just missed a couple times, which involved 3 or 4 shots, which puts additional pressure on the dog. Not unreasonable pressure, but additional pressure on the dog. It also puts me in a situation of, I feel the pressure of I don't want to make mistakes for the dogs that I know and love and the handlers and all of the pieces. I don't want to make mistakes for that. And so then you start getting in your own head just a little bit. And we worked stuff out a smidgen, but still the whole Friday was not as good a gunning as I would have expected out of myself.
The gunning is the only story of the field for anybody.
And
because Onyx's run when we get there was very interesting.
It was very interesting. And, but all of that being said, birds were killed. Some of the retrieves might have been slightly longer than normal. None of it affected Thunder. I mean, he's really good in that situation.
Thank you.
Thank you. I get to run.
I get to go further.
Yes, I have to hunt for 5 seconds before I find the bird, things like that. So, but he handled perfectly clean. And when you look at what is perfectly clean in a utility test, where is the breakdown going to happen where people are going to, and stop me if you can't communicate this, we're not applying scores to dogs or how to score things.
This is just us talking. It's not
Okay. So
I'm not representing NAHVDA.
okay.
I'm representing a handler.
Perfect. If we go to, lost train of thought just a second.
Where would they break down?
Yeah, where would
in
the breakdown
steadiness?
be from a scoring / handling standpoint? If you shoot the bird, dog hops, and you have to handle them, that goes against steadiness scores, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you have to handle them on the way back with retrieves, they run out, they pick up the bird, they screw around with it, or if it's crippled, they drop it, they have to chase it, pick it up. You have to say, no, pick it up with a fetch or another handling-based cue. Those things all count against you. So to get into what qualify as top scorers, maximum scores in that category, birds were shot, you sent him, he ran out, picked them up, delivered them to hand with no verbal communication from you.
Yep. An ideal bird is you point out the bird to the gunners, you flush the bird, and you say one word, fetch.
And that's it.
That's it.
When you guys think about this, there's no here, there's no additional fetch, there's no
nonverbals.
Good buddy,
There's
no
nonverbals.
Steps, no movement, no nothing. Statue-based standing, grab the bird when it comes back.
Yep.
Which is wild. It is a big ask, and it's very impressive to see dogs that roll through the field, and it's wild. When you are gunning in that situation, or you are handling, in my situation, gunning for a handler that can take the process to that level, it's like a very boring,
Yeah, kind of.
quiet.
Yeah.
You're not out there chit-chatting, having a good time or whatever. There is silence. And it's like almost eerily strange quiet.
Yeah.
So, but he handled his field. Handled it great. It was flawless. We moved from that day. They went into drags next.
Yep.
How did his drag go? I didn't get to even see part of that.
Fine. I don't think he came. He might have went downwind of it a touch, but straight out, straight back.
That's good.
At full thunder speed, both ways.
I think that the average piece that can get overtrained for is the drag.
Yeah, for sure.
If you do too many drags, it's a duck drag through the grass with a handler walking with it. It leaves an insane amount of scent for a seasoned dog.
I mean, I could see it in the grass.
Exactly where it walked.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it is strictly obedience. It is
without
not
a nose.
hard.
You could follow exactly where this went. And to say the dog can't figure that out with the insane amount of additional sensories that they have is silly. So what the test is actually looking for in that situation is, what are they going to do when they're outside of the handler with a duck? It's obedience based.
Yeah. What you gonna do with that duck there?
Yeah. What you gonna do?
You gonna pick that little fella up and bring him back, or
And him? Nothing. Clean.
It was also the nicest duck he's probably ever retrieved in the past year.
Because it's a freshly
killed, and it was dry and perfect and fluffy and soft. He was probably very happy.
We reuse a lot of frozen ducks.
Yeah.
So as people talk about how do I get a hold of things, how do I do these training pieces myself, we keep all of them until skin is exposed or they get stinky or whatever else. As the ducks are retrieved, they get dried, they get head tucked under their wing, perfectly placed in a freezer and frozen there. Then you pull them back out, thaw them, use them, dry them, freeze them until they can't handle that anymore.
Yeah, and most of the time when we do drag training, we're doing it after duck searches or something. So the ducks are all wet and shot, and I mean, we're training harder. It's a shot, bloodied up duck. What are you gonna do with it?
And wet encourages bad mouth habits.
Mm-hmm.
So the wetter it is, which it was a wet morning, but ducks tend to shed water way better.
Especially when they're fresh and they still have all the oils on their feathers and stuff. It was like a soft pillow. It was very nice.
So nailed the drag, moved from that into duck search. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Duck search on Friday for him.
Yep.
What did that look like?
He was very fired up. So I will say the beginning of the day, he was extra fired up. So everything, I mean, I think I said to Kat when I got him out of the box, he is too excited. He needs to whether it's, it's very much a mostly normal day for him. He got let out of the kennel, he got loaded up in the dog trailer, he got drove down the road, but it was a lot. He was very, very fired up, and I took him to the water, shot. He was vocalizing a little bit because he was very excited, waited till he stopped, and I sent him, and he proceeded to bite at all of the vegetation. And
if you guys have not followed along with this 3-part series, you need to go back and listen to the first one and then the second episode, because we talk about this was an attempt at requalifying based on how he did at the test in March.
Yep, in Texas.
Yep, and that was a specific problem that we had in March.
Yep.
It was a breakdown of he gets too fired up and gets in his own way.
Yeah, he's not sure. He's like, you sent me, but were you supposed to? And his way, it's almost like, I want to call it a pop, but it isn't a true pop. But I know what he can do when he knows what he's supposed to do. When he is clear and everything is crystal clear and he's confident, I know exactly what he can do. And when there's any level of confusion, for as high drive as he is, he's also that cooperative, and he does not want to make a mistake. And when he thinks he's making a mistake, he's like a little panicky. Like, I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do.
It's such an interesting combination. And because he's as driven as he is cooperative. And when those two pieces fight in his brain, he doesn't know what to do. And really, when you break those pieces down.
And he doesn't make bad choices as a dog. He can make some choices that don't let him score well.
Sure.
So he's not doing anything that you would go, oh, I can't believe he's doing that. It's like, no, he clearly is a little confused, and he showed that later on in his duck search, but he doesn't, he's not making a bad decision. He's just not making the right one for the test.
Yeah. So we've put a lot of emphasis on attempting to help him feel confident leaving and figuring out what that piece is to say, yes, trust what you are asked to do. Don't second guess that you made a mistake. And breaking early for him would be a mistake.
Yeah, and that really affects his duck search. If he breaks before you send him, he
anticipates the send and starts to go and wait a second. Now I can't think about anything other than I know I wasn't supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I know you're probably going to call me back, so
maybe I just
do
that.
What's going to happen? Yeah.
So he started with that for his initial send.
Yep, and he did work out of it. He made a lot of eye contact while he was out there swimming in circles.
Are you going to call me?
What's
or did I do
happening? And then
happened?
he finally expanded, and he found a duck in it was not a duck that was put out, which normally our ducks are Houdinis on the pond, and they had clear to the back beaver area. And this one happened to be on the very first piece of ground he touched. So it was like 2 minutes, and he chased a duck.
And when you put that in perspective too, he didn't screw around for very long.
No,
if he was out searching.
It's just for him, it can build into more issues if he starts that way.
Correct.
Yeah, he was searching pretty quick, but it was just enough that I'm sitting there getting a little bit faster heart rate. Like,
sure,
come on, dude. Like, you know what you're supposed to do.
Found the duck basically straight away on one of the first islands.
Yep.
Which is 40 yards, maybe.
If that. And he was, nope, he didn't have the wind. He just found it right where he came up on shore, basically. He flushed a duck out. So.
Then did they have to go shoot that, or did he end up catching
shore?
it?
It chased right at us.
Okay.
And if it was headed in the other direction, it maybe could have been let's see what happens. But since it was out in the open and it was just going to be a duck, so they were able to shoot it right away. And then took the duck from him and knew I was going to have to resend and set him up. And he was, again, like super jacked and waited, like, got to calm down. Sent him very similar initial send, 10 yards at the most in front of me, circling, and he I don't know exactly how long it was. It wasn't very long. He came back up and stood next to me.
Yeah.
And
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where it was like, the second I touch, I could literally just tap your head right now and you will be gone. And they finally, it wasn't very long, but they said, go ahead and send him. And I went, fetch, and gone. Just went out and
But the fact that it required additional communication on more. So he brought the duck back and you're able. Well, he brought the duck back. You're able to send him.
Yeah.
And then he screwed around and then came back to you.
And if it had been really quick, like out and back or something, it might have been fine. But it was not that. It was
swam for a minute or two, then came back. So essentially quitting as opposed to continuing to search.
Right.
When there was definitely more cover to search.
Correct.
Way more availability for him to go do things independently.
Because he'd been 40 yards away and found a duck, and that was it.
Yeah. So that's where you come into, and the old joke, basically, if you need additional communication to get your dog going, it's like bring a rock, write 4 on it, put it in your pocket. And if you need to help your dog, you can throw your 4 away, and then they take off chasing that and then end up in searching, and they can earn a 3 then. So it is truly an ask of the dog to independently do the task. And he got in his own head in his own way. And maybe had he not found a duck on the first time, these are all the things you don't know. These are all the unknowns, maybes, the whatevers. He might have continued on, and if he'd been able to actually continue searching, he might have opened up on his own. Might. These are all the mights, right? And it would have looked different, but it didn't. So he ends up with a 3 in duck search.
Yep.
Because of his screwing around, basically, and initial need for the requirement for sends and pieces. From that, the next piece of the test is the remain.
Yep.
Healing and remain.
Healing, remain by blind, study by blind, and retrieve.
So again, if you haven't seen this, you need to watch our utility test video, the utility test remain video that is available. Healing and remain portion is there. You can see the healing. You can actually watch Thunder do it.
Yep.
You can see the healing, leave at the blind, go and shoot the extra shots. What do they call it specifically?
It's just for the remain. They're just the remain shots.
Remain shots, okay. And then there's distraction.
You're out of
gunning.
sight of the dog, so
you leave the dog at the blind, go jump, shoot something else or whatever the simulation is supposed to be exactly, and then there's distraction gunfire while you're shooting, and then your mark comes out. He picked that, did everything perfect.
He got a 3 in the retrieve because he had it by the neck.
Had to regrip.
Yeah, he regripped it, and then he didn't have it that great again, and then he did it again. And then he brought it into heel. No problem. I mean, I didn't say anything to him. I trusted him, but it was just a little too many. You don't really need 2. Like, you took 1, get it right.
Think about that while you're listening to this or watching and listening. Think about the fact that he sat at the blind with no additional handle outside of whoa or sit. You can say that. Leave them at the blind. Here comes your duck. Send them with fetch or whatever your word is. It's fine. And then he went out. He didn't have a great handle on it. He set it down to pick it up. Didn't have a great handle on it. Set it down to pick it up. And that earned him a 3 with no additional handle. He did it all on his own. This is a very high ask of a dog. Not an unrealistic ask, but it is a very high ask of a dog, which is why the test means so much.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 is good enough for prize 1 work.
Yep.
And the healing was fine. You got a 4 in heal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a little worried because, again, we were pretty fired up and we're going pretty quick. I mean, he waited in the trailer for Onyx and Doc's duck search, but he was pretty much right back at it. And we had been training that way. It's something that we had adjusted to try to get some of that under control and get him into that mindset of like, I just got to go chase ducks around and do what I wanted for 20 minutes, 15, whatever his training duck searches were. And then now you're going to do all this obedience.
We've hit a big open water portion of the pond, and it could be a plus and minus of using the same body of water too. But ultimately, if he had done the pieces correctly, he would have, 100% correctly, he would receive a 4. This is no, Mark, this is not a complaint that he got screwed by judges. Like, a lot of people say those kind of things. And really what it comes down to, if the dog completes the portion of the test, they have no option other than to receive the top score. Nobody volunteers their long weekend in a 3-day test like this. It takes 5 days to travel out, run the test, and travel home. So nobody goes out of their way to say, let's see if we can get some dogs to not receive as high scores as they should.
Yeah.
That kind of thought process is not optimal. You should not apply it to your training. You don't need to talk about how your dog got screwed. This is Ethan on his soapbox here, okay? I don't like it. I don't like listening to people sit around at dog events and hear everybody how they got mistreated or the volunteers that are there are doing the best that they can to help your dogs to be successful, and they can score what they see that day. That's it.
Yep.
So did all Prize 1 work there? His hiccup on Friday was a duck search.
Yep.
Got too fired up, got in his own way.
Got a 191 Prize 2.
Which is an extremely high Prize 2.
Yep.
204 being the maximum score available. Had he gotten a 4 and a 4, that would have been it.
Yeah, he got hit in co-op and obedience, but that was
because of the other pieces.
Yeah.
So it pulls into a big picture type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So all that being said, a very, very good score. Not what we were trying to get on Friday. Next, we had Onyx. Onyx's field run was different.
Yeah, it was not as
clean.
Relaxing.
No, not as relaxing. It was close to as clean, not as relaxing.
Right. It was definitely, so just for some backstory, some context, he hurt his foot on Wednesday.
Yeah, had a swollen toe, ended up being either a puncture that kind of got aggravated or tweaked toe or something.
I thought about it, and I definitely crunched it pretty good healing him to his duck search on Wednesday.
Accidentally stepped on him.
Yeah. And I thought about that. I was like, maybe that was it. I'm not sure.
Stepped on his toe.
It was like bruised, and it could have been either way. It was either some kind of contusion or it got poked and it had a little something going on. But it was very swollen. He
got some pain meds, and it settled out in a day and a half. So it's things happen.
Yep.
But he was coming off of a couple days off to make sure he had enough Onyx to be able to run. Because he's also
7.
aging. Yeah, he's 7. He's not 2.
Yeah.
But
he was also very fired up.
Very fired
up. If you've ever had a dog, we call it corn cobbing, or you just sometimes when they're excited to nibble on your pants and stuff.
Okay.
Onyx has never even
nibble
he's never even really
something.
He's like, kind of, you can pet me if you want. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy to just be a dog and lay in the sand. And he was jumping at me and nibbling at my shirt, and I was like, "Who are you?" But if you think about train really, 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 really hard, get a small injury, take 3 days off. And then imagine how, when you rest, relaxed, and you feel pretty good.
Yeah,
you're ready to go. And that's kind of the boat that I think he was in.
Straight out of the gate, within the first 100, 150 yards of his run, he locked up on point, wasn't 100% sure.
It was enough that I said he's on point, Judge said on point, and I started looking to the gunners to say,
move up.
Hey, he was kind of facing us, so we're gonna go this. Just kind of giving some hand signals of what my intentions were.
And again, to point out, because scent is an interesting thing that I think is misunderstood by.
Oh, this is a rough morning.
Yeah, misunderstood by the average person that's coming out. Right, a warm, humid day with a lot of dew, a lot of humidity, not a lot of wind.
Yep.
Scent is sticky. This was described by another guy that has way more experience with scent and dogs specifically, but scent is sticky. So as it comes off of that bird and there is dew all around it, it kind of sticks to the dew.
And by dew, I mean within 5 minutes of being in the field, I looked like I was swimming.
Yeah.
I mean, wet, absolutely soaked.
Wet all the way up to her waist.
Yeah.
Soaked all the way through the boots.
Dogs are dripping water the whole time. Yeah.
It is. I literally took my socks off after the 3 runs, and I could wring water out of them.
It could have been raining.
Waterproofing boots. There's no. Yeah. Might as well have been raining. On top of that, you add heat, which is warming, and no wind. So
so any scent
that's going straight up.
Yeah. Anything thermals are bringing the scent up. What little scent is being able to escape from
is going straight up.
Yeah. From the moisture.
Not blown in a direction where the dog can wind it from any amount of distance. So he's, that close to the bird. Well, then it rustles in the grass or something. Too big a temptation for him.
I kind of read it it's interesting that you read it that way. I kind of read it because as I was walking up, it seemed like he started to be like, "Oh, I'm not 100% sure that I have this bird, or not." Like he stopped and he's like, "Is it here or is it not here?" Because, but it could have been. I mean, that's how I read it. Is it seemed like he was more unsure, and maybe I'm just reading into the future because
no, he seemed unsure.
Yeah,
and and I don't know if that's what happened. Like there was enough there, or if he went, I'm not really sure. I'm going to try and resure. And then the bird takes off.
Then it definitely moved.
Yes.
Because he was moving in the grass right before the naughty part.
And then bird flushed via him, flew away. Did you handle him?
I did. I did.
Okay.
Because, so the way to think about it is if you, and this is what I tell everybody at training days when they're handling, if your dog breaks or something happens and you stand there and do nothing and the dog chases it down and does whatever, you're going to have not a great score. If you say, whoa, and the dog chases it down and does whatever, you're going to have the same score.
Correct.
If you say, whoa, and he stops, you're going to have a better score. So,
and be moving in the right direction for hopefully the next 29 minutes or 28 minutes of the run.
Yeah. So standing there and just letting stuff happen and just not doing anything and dropping your shoulders will never help. It doesn't help for the next birds. It doesn't help for that bird. It's never a good idea. You should always, if it's going bad, handle it because it can only improve or not change your score anyway. So
the key with the process is he established point. As we moved in, he moved, which is now steadiness related, not pointing related.
Yeah, we were 15 feet from him, we were pretty close.
You handled him. It hurts that steadiness score because the whole thing got screwed up, but at the same time, you're able to say, nah, don't fall apart on me.
You're not doing that.
You handled, and that's the key. For me, we're not going to run a dog until they are verbally handleable, and that proved that he was, right? He could stop, he stood there. Move on, and then he
had a lot of cues, like birds flying away mean don't chase them. Me saying something means stop. Like there was a lot of things there reinforcing that. And,
correct.
But I wasn't going to see if he was going to stop the flush. I was going to make sure.
Absolutely. So we moved on from there, and his run continued with some little bit of unsureties based on scent. Like he kind of got birdie in some areas and was like, oh God, is he going to push another one out? Like what's going to happen here? I don't know. And he didn't.
Nope.
He handled 3 more birds completely clean.
One of which was a pair.
We'll get into that. In the situation we talked about, and I gave, Rich is a little bit greener when it comes to dogs and gunning. He's a great shot, but a little bit greener to the situation. And I said, hey, we can't let a thunder happen again. We can't let these birds get away. And he took that as every bird can't get away. And he locks up on point. Charles goes, there's 2 here.
Pick one.
And I said, just one. And I don't think Rich heard me or whatever. Obviously, he did not. Birds get up. This one flies this way, and I pull on it to make sure that I don't blow it up 10 feet from me. And boom, it gets shot. And it was a clear shot for him. I'm like, sweet, that was perfect. The other one's flying away. I hear boom, that one goes down. And it's like, why did we shoot twice? Sorry, Rich, I'm throwing you under the bus, but you earned this one. It was like, why did we kill another bird? Now you may be going, I don't know. Why is that a problem? It's supposed to retrieve both of them. And that just adds not only additional distraction to make the retrieves, but additional birds going down as additional pressure. All of those pieces make the ask more difficult than it already was, which it's already pretty difficult.
Yeah, that's invitational level stuff. And even there, it's not like, don't press for it. If it happens, we'll handle it. But and the way I read it when it was happening, because I pulled up and I couldn't see you, but I could see Rich. And I just point, because you have to swing a gun, you have to point at a bird. So I just picked the closer of the 2 because I assumed that's the bird that would get shot. So I'm looking at it and it goes down. And in my hearing protection, I swore you shot it. And then as I'm dropping my gun down, I hear Rich shoot and I see the other bird go down. And I'm like, oh, he probably pulled up on that bird. Mm-hmm. Ethan shot that one. He didn't realize that. And I didn't realize that until after the fact. Rich comes up and he goes, I think I shot them both. And I was like, I think you would know if you shot them both. And he got, I shot them both.
So
he handled it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
We worked through that, but it's again added pressure that as gunners we should not have applied to the dog. But he handled it, and he did really well with that. Moved on to the final bird. It was a single bird, killed it, clean. His field run allowed for recovery, which gave him more than adequate Prize I steadiness and all of the pieces, which is another part that's beneficial about running in a utility test. Because when we've talked about this before, the steadiness ask is the same, but the actual requirement in order to receive a Prize I is slightly less than it would be to pass a master test.
Well, it's just scored differently. So whereas you handled too much in
slightly less. I mean,
you can handle more and still receive a prize, passing especially, but Prize I work. Whereas in
he would have been picked up for pushing that bird out.
That's the long story.
Yeah, you are done. And in this situation, he has the opportunity to...
He could have pushed them all out, and he would have got to finish his 30 minutes.
Well, this is true. But he can bring his score up by having flawless after that. Now, depending on how bad it was, can he bring it up high enough for a Prize I? That depends on the situation and all the birds and pieces. But in this, it was very obvious. He made one little mistake, and he handled 3 birds completely clean after that. And he did well. The field was outside of feeling very anxious that every time he got a little birdie, a bird was going to come out of that. And it did not. And he handled great. So
yeah, as a general rule of thumb, utility Prize I dogs don't flush their own birds. So
no.
If that's happening consistently, might be cool when you're hunting and the pheasants are buried in the cattails, but not for a test.
No. So after that, he moved into his drag.
Yep.
And he got a 3 in duck drag. What was the piece that ended up?
He started out well, and he ended up getting too far downwind. So again, it's starting to dry a little bit, but in a tiny little bit of breeze. But we're still in that like pretty narrow drag.
Sure.
You're I don't know exactly because I can't see the scent molecules, but it would have been pretty narrow, especially because it's a little thicker back there. So.
Sure.
He got too far downwind. He ended up crossing it and missing it. And then he ended up, because he turned into the wind to try to hunt it back up. And he spent a lot of time upwind of the track looking for it. And he eventually made a cast back downwind, very close to the tree line where the duck was. And you could see him. He went cruising by and went, brakes, turn around, went back, found it, and he eventually came out with it.
Got it.
But had no problem with the retrieve, at least on my end. I didn't ask about what happened in the woods, but
yeah, and we talked about
it was good.
Well, you'd have known if it wasn't. And they, so it just ended up being. We talked about how quote unquote easy the scent ask is, so it gets viewed again as obedience. Like you chose not to do this in this situation because should have been easier than you made it look.
Yeah.
So you were saying, I don't maybe really necessarily want to do this. Is kind of how it looks, right? And that's what they have to judge. So, but again, a 3 in his drag is Prize I work.
Yep.
Then we move on to his duck search.
Yep.
Which looked pretty good, but still had some hiccups.
Yep. So he, in the last time he ran, when Keegan, his owner, ran him, he struggled to send. So similar to Thunder, it would look very similar. Like, super, just a clarity issue. Like, I'm not 100% sure what you want me to do. Am I doing it right? And it would usually take another one, and then it would be off to the races. So brought him down there, shot. He was pretty pumped. Again, let him calm down, because they kind of know what's going on. Like, oh, we're going to go have some fun.
Yeah.
Sent him, and he was off like a rocket. I mean, he hit where we sent from on our pond. And if you watch the YouTube video on Duck Search, it'll show you a good picture of kind of what Thunder's initial... In that video, I think he spends a lot longer doing it. But if you look at the video, like the first 2 minute of his duck search was kind of what he was doing in that video.
Got it.
But there's 2 islands, and then there's a single island, and then another island. And Onyx didn't go to the 2. He went kind of off to the left where Thunder had initially found his duck. And he did a quick search that, because by this time we had a little bit more breeze. And then it was off to the next one, and then he was clear back in the cove, and then he came back across the channel, and then he got up into the grass between the channel and the next cove and popped out with a duck.
Got it.
And he made his way back, retrieved no problem, went to resend him, and we basically did what Thunder did. He went out, he did a little bit of a loop, and then he came back to me, and I was like, I am not saying anything. You have been crushing this. Like, just take a minute, buddy. You got it. And I tried to like move my legs forward a little bit, and he started to go, and he like went to the right, and then he turned around and looked at me, and he ran back over and heeled again. And I was like, oh. And they're like, go ahead and pick him up. And when the leash hit his collar, he tried to take off. Because again, he just wanted me to just give him that little bit of reassurance. And it's like, dude.
So
it's very frustrating.
In the situation of the duck search, this is again up to what the judges see. If they retrieve a duck too early, and it's not an exact, this is the number one misconception of, they have to search for 10 minutes and they're good. They have to search the water in a productive manner that covers new areas instead of searching the same thing over and over again. But if they do pieces fast enough and they are way short of that quote unquote 10-minute mark, which is not, it doesn't have to be 10 minutes, but it does have to be headed that direction, let's say, depending on what they see based on searching. If you really want true clarity on how this is judged and scored and a better understanding while you are training, if your dog is doing the pieces correctly, go to an Aims and Rules clinic.
You will learn more at an Aims and Rules clinic and be able to apply it to what you're watching than anything.
They run all the portions of the test with sample dogs. They explain all of the judging. They explain how those pieces are scored with real dogs there, and then explain how things would look different and everything else. It helps you to better understand how the actual event is judged, which can give you more clarity. It's not a magic 10 minutes. I think Nick's got called at, found a duck and came back and went to a new area and found another duck maybe, came back and got sent and was taken off, and it was like 4.5 or 5 minutes. Yeah. And like, this dude has crushed this.
Timber had one of those too. 3 retrieves, and they're like, after the third one, they're like, you're
good.
Fine.
Yep. And it's a shorter period of time. But then we've had dogs that are like 12 minutes.
Questy Pup was like 17 or something.
Super slow movement. And yes, you've been out there a long time, but you really haven't done a whole lot. But you haven't quit. You haven't given up. We're going to give you time at your pace to do your thing as they slowly work the pieces and whatever else. So there's a lot of play in the amount of time. It's more about what they do. So he moved very quickly, but there was more available to search. So they say, go ahead and go look some more. And he didn't, which cost him a 4, drops him into that 3 category.
Which you got to have a 4 to get a prize one.
Correct. So,
and the way that I think about it in training especially is if you think about it, I have 2 ducks out here because I put them out there. But what is the likelihood with the search that the dog is doing that those ducks are going to come back?
Yeah.
And if, they're running the bank and running around and they're searching one island, the likelihood of my duck coming back is pretty small. Yeah, if they're out there ripping around and they cover the whole entire pond in 5-6 minutes, they've looked everywhere that's reasonable, well, that might be enough. It might not. It just kind of depends on what they're doing. But that's a good rule of thumb is what's the likelihood that a wounded duck is coming back? Because that's the basis of the test is that there's a duck down. It's wounded. You don't know where it is. I need my dog to go find it.
So then after that, he moved into his healing and remain portion, which all went really well.
Yep, all 4s.
And finished out the test again with a 191 prize 2.
Yep.
But he lost points in different places. Same multipliers, which is how that score comes up. Each is applied a weight. You multiply the score times the weight equals total points for that section. So he lost a point in duck search, which Thunder did as well. He lost a point in the duck drag. Thunder lost it in the remain portion.
The retrieve.
At the remain
same
portion.
Multiplier, so it ends up being the same. And then they both got 3s in co-op and obedience.
So 191 prize 2s, not good enough. If this is the first test that they'd ever ran, and this is the first time Charles had ever handled a dog, it's a really, 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 really good day.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. I mean, if you look at all the 4s on the card, I mean, they did an absolutely great job. And they are, I mean, that to take those boys hunting and to do, I mean, they could do anything you would ask them to do.
Well, and even a Prize III utility dog is one heck of a dog to go hunt behind.
It's in the top 1% of probably versatile dogs out there.
Yeah. So, Doc on Friday. This is the one that, I mean, I don't want to say surprised me the most, but kind of ultimately end of the day score surprised me the most. Ended up with a 204.
Prize one,
which is the maximum score. I don't know exact statistics, but there's not very many dogs every year that end up that. I did look up some information in that was available online. I don't have everything, but 2023, just at plus or minus a few, 1,000 dogs ran utility.
Yep, sounds about right.
Probably less than 300 qualified, and I would guess in the 10% vicinity of the qualifiers, prize ones, 10%ish might have been 204s.
Yep.
So you're looking at a very small percentage.
Very. There's an old saying now that you'll hear when you start training for utility that a Prize III utility dog is a great hunting dog. A Prize II utility dog is a great hunting dog that had some luck, and a Prize I is a great hunting dog that had a whole lot of luck.
Well, and it's because of the number of pieces. We talked about a field portion where we handled anywhere from 3 to 5 birds plus a double plus some things happened.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a duck drag, which should be easy, but they are dogs, not robots. Then you handle a duck search, which
with a random duck, like
anything could happen.
Who knows what would have happened with that?
Yeah. Then you go to the remain portion where they have to stand steady by themselves, then stand steady through a mark, then deliver the mark to hand.
Not have the winger malfunction and not have a decoy get snagged on them. Or, I mean, there's just a lot of places where things can
fall apart just enough.
Yeah.
I have ran a handful of dogs and ended up with prize twos, things like healing.
Yeah.
Like these dogs know how to heal. And that day, that event, the wind's blowing off the water. You got to heel down next to that. And they went, I want to come check this out. I've learned a lot about going and exploring water, and pull on you a little bit too much. And you end up out of prize one work because they didn't walk at heel, which is a simple thing that should not be a place to fail, but it is a place that can happen, right? I mean, I say fail, a place to lose enough points to stay out of a prize one dog, but it can happen. So he ran his field and it looked flawless.
Yeah, he was great.
Flawless. I think he handled 4 birds. Every bird was shot, killed, retrieved, no handle, no communication outside of fetch.
I don't think I barely said anything while he was running.
No.
It was just where he was supposed to be the whole time.
Yeah, which is cool. It's a very quiet, very relaxing run, which was kind of a polar opposite after coming off of Onyx.
Yeah.
We went from, I'm on edge watching, right?
Yeah.
And you're on edge handling. I can only imagine being on the other side of that, but it's, and then to go to that, which was flawless. He moved from that into a duck drag, which
straight out, straight back.
Flawless. A good, flawless, quote unquote, I keep saying flawless. A flawless duck drag probably takes less than 60 seconds, less than 30 seconds almost. And it's 150, it's
between 100 and 200. And it was probably in the low hundreds-ish, I would guess. I mean, I didn't range find it, but.
Over 100 yards. So he did the straight out, straight back with the duck, and he did it very quickly.
When I came back with him, Rich asked me what was wrong. Like, what do you mean? He goes, you're back. I go, yeah, we're done. He goes, you're done? I didn't even see you start.
Yeah. So it went flawless. Now, how did his duck search go? Obviously well, but how did that go?
It was, I say this because he was doing so well. It was one of, honestly, the worst that he's done in a while. And I think that, I don't say that in a way that, he didn't get a gift. He did the work, 100%.
Yeah.
But for him and where he was in the training, I was like, this is not what I expected. He did do something funny. It's kind of funny. It's kind of gross, but it is kind of funny too. So I healed him down, no problem. Sent him. He went to one of the islands on the right.
Yeah.
He searched around. He took a very long, legit pee. He didn't mark. And then he went to leave, got back in the water, and then pooped on the island. And I was like, bad handler. Should have aired him more, I guess. I thought I aired him enough, but it was a little bit of that, like, gotta go because you're 3 dogs in a row. So it's like, pee, let's go. Oh, don't have to pee.
It's a very valid point that we haven't really talked about, but before things like tracks or drags, where they are obedience-based scores, eliminating the potential for the dog to add something to, like mid-drag, they have to stop and
have
pee.
A duck in their mouth and they're peeing for a minute. Talk about a heart attack.
Yeah, doesn't look good, isn't good. So give ample time to air, being pro handling tip here.
Big time on the puppies before the water. That can really help too. But so he did that, and then he was kind of looking at me, and I was like, why are you looking at me? And it was like just that like little bit of like, and then he swam back to me, and I was like, what are you doing? You have never, like, I say never, but in a month, once he's been sent, he's never come back unless he's had a duck for a month. And I'm like, what is going on? And he comes back and he runs the shore a little bit, and he's standing in front of me at the water, and he's looking, and he rips the biggest fart I have ever heard a dog rip. And I was like, what the? And then he just took off. And I was like, what did I do to you?
Came back and farted on you and said, watch this, Bubba. And then was gone.
Gone. In the back. I mean, I think some of the judges could see where he was, but I would see little glimpses of him and occasionally hear some splashing. But yeah, he was just gone.
That's awesome.
And we actually had, and this is again a sign of how well he'd been doing. I actually had to work on his recall to get him back if he didn't find a duck, because he was like, no, I don't have a duck. I'm not coming back. So his last couple training duck searches, I actually, on his resend, I was with the intention of, I'm going to call you back once you're really back there searching, because you're to that level that I'm probably going to have to do this at some point, and I need you to be able to come back. Because I mean, it took using a collar to get him to come
pull
back.
Off duck searching.
Yeah. But when they said call him, and I called him, and he popped out and looked at me, and I was like, attaboy, and he just booked it back. I was like, oh, good boy.
Good boy. Move into the healing and remain. He was a perfect little
he was
sir.
Back to being a gentleman.
Yeah. Healed up. And I do want to point out something that's very interesting and different between him and the other 2 boys. In that remain, it's a very set up type of situation.
Oh, yeah. Annie was like, see where he's set up? And I was like, yeah, I pay attention.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's way more in tune to the handler and the pieces, and different. Like he's got a different level of cooperation. We talked about Thunder being very cooperative, but Thunder also understands context really well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, man, they're going to shoot back there, and I know that blind out there has a winger and a duck, and they're going to throw me a mark, and I get to go do that. And
he might glance once. Nope, no mark.
Yep.
And he's just looking out there.
And just dead staring it down. Onyx, same way. He didn't even, no attention given, basically none. Doc, if you set him up at the blind to look out over the water,
which is instinct for handling.
Yeah, normal.
Yeah.
Go behind the blind somewhere off, depending on your test. It's going to be different areas, but fire the shots. He wants to move to see, ooh, what happened back here? And then he pays attention here until you come back up. There's no movement like coming to you or any of those things. Just pivot. And we've talked about this a lot in different conversations, but movement encourages movement. It's kind of like laws of physics. Objects in motion stay in motion. So he turns around this way. He doesn't move from there, but it encouraged movement. And in training, he was doing that. And I said, well, what about if we just set him up looking at you? Because then you are allowed to reset him when you come back. So set him up looking, and he stands there perfectly, watches, listening because he can't see anything, watches for the shots. Nothing happens. He gets reset looking at the water. Boom, boom, boom. Duck comes out. Charles shoots at it. Boom. And then sends him, makes a perfect retrieve out and back, and hands the duck off. And then they do physical attributes, heal out. Mm-hmm. It's the end of the test. And he made 0. But that was a handling piece that ultimately could have prevented him from turning that into a 3 or a 2 because it falls apart because he's staring at the across the water. He hears the shots. We know he's going to move to turn around and see. And then as you approach, he tries to meet you or tries to do anything. Then you have to handle him.
Yep.
And now he's got a 3 there at a maximum, right? Or something. So from a handling standpoint, you were able to make that adjustment, which helped him ultimately look completely flawless.
And that's why it's great to train together and to say, hey, come watch this and tell me what you see, because I can't see that.
Correct.
I come up the hill and sometimes he's looking, but he's because occasionally he can get a little bit into the groove and turns around, looks at me, and then I'm coming up the hill and
he turns around and looks at the
water.
water. Yeah.
So again, more in motion,
sequence.
and now he's like tippy tapped closer to the water or something.
And they kind of draw the line. It's not. This is again, go to the Ames and Rules Clinic, but the line is clearly drawn at the edge of the water.
Yeah, steady dogs aren't in the water.
If the dog ends up in the water in anticipation of any of this process, it's not a good thing. So stay out of the water being key there. And if it's movement here, movement back here, shots go off, distraction gun, tippy tappy, any of this encouraged, we're kind of getting away from things and we're getting loose.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it can be as simple as he took a couple steps towards the water, nothing happened. Oh, I'm good. And then right as the duck hits the water, well, he's going to send me anyway, and I already walked down here, so
and then he's off.
The only thing I did different too, besides that, was I had again, when you're handling, you don't see everything, so you don't always know. I was pretty sure I knew where old Doc was in his score, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to walk around the blind. I reached over the blind and tapped his head.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm not going to risk anything because I think we're pretty good, so I'm going to just send him that way.
Yeah, one slightly early send or one slightly different send or even a verbal send if you feel like your dog is on edge. They're going anyway.
Right.
They're waiting for something. So be a little bit quicker. This is where good handling pays off instead of waiting for them to make a mistake and then getting caught in a have to handle them or a delayed, oh, they were going and I said fetch. No, you were definitely slow. They were going before you released them. So you add those additional pieces in for the one time.
Yeah.
And then you go back in training and you can prepare for that and make corrections. But
it's not the time to show off.
It
so
is
break
not.
your gun open and unload it and
help the dog.
Just do what you need to do. And it helped my nerves a little bit too to have him sent.
Absolutely. And he ends up with a 204 Prize 1. He's requalified.
Oh, yeah.
For the 2027 Invitational, which is in
Missouri.
It is in Missouri.
Okay. Uplands, yep.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be totally different. They've never hosted before.
Not at these grounds. A long time ago, the chapter it did, but it's all new people, all new everything. So
cool.
The brothers get to go together.
That's awesome. So it'll be East and Doc have both qualified now and will be at, which are both Thunder puppies.
Yep.
And Thunder, who is qualified for this year's Invitational, we're trying to requalify so he has the opportunity. Heaven forbid something happen. We've kind of got that as an insurance plan for you don't have to take 2 years, which did happen with Doc.
Right.
He ran last year at the Invitational. He didn't get to go this year because we were not able to get him requalified. He's requalified this year. He gets to go next year.
Yep.
So what did he made a mistake at the blind.
Yeah, and it was something he'd been struggling with, but he'd been handling it well. And you can hit a point where it's either I'm going to push through this and maybe have to rebuild, or I'm going to take something that is going to pass. Yeah. And I don't know that it was the right call at the time, but it was the call that I made. But he would pop sometimes on his blind, but then he would, and by pop, I mean a legit, like go out, maybe his feet would leave the bottom, and then he would come back. And then if you lined him up, sent him again, he would go again. That it's all comes back, in my opinion, to confidence. Like,
sure, what
are you truly asking me to do? And he did that at the Invitational, and then made it about 3/4 of the way across, and went, I don't know for sure, which is not something that he had done. I mean, not usually if he made it that far, he was going. Yeah. It was fine, and so we'll probably have a discussion about Doc's training goals at some point, and we can sit down and do it in front of a camera.
Absolutely. We are working on the road to blind retrieves. Those videos are up. Thunder's making really good progress with handling that. He's got a lot of confidence to go. We're trying to put in the back pocket, it is a pretty typical thing that people just line this blind because it is a quote unquote easier blind. Especially if you look at the retriever world, they all describe it as this is a stupid, easy blind.
Yeah.
Versatile dogs come with a different brain that involves more independence. And I think the more that Bob and I are working together with the Lone Stone Seminar, which just happened in just a couple weeks ago here in New York, he's realizing that though the process is similar and teaching the pieces the correct way is the best option, their brains work different. And we do hit different hiccups at different zones, and it takes some modification. So we're working through it with Thunder. We're going to apply the same concept to Doc and see where we have to make modifications. And then again, the same thing with East. Where do we find hiccups? Where are we able to modify to be able to help them truly have some level of handle so that you can, if he starts to come back or whatever, you could back cast him confidently. Or if he gets way off course and ends up too far to the left or the right, you could stop him and then again cast him to give him a closer direction. That handle is okay as long as it's listened to.
Yep. And it's in a blind. I mean, if he's on the shore and he's down too far, that's a pretty easy in that, task.
Yeah.
Run the shore is not that hard of an ask. It's just
Correct.
making sure they understand what you're asking them to do.
Correct. So we're working through that now. Reverse here. Onward and forward with the conversation. We talked about entering that all three dogs were entered in Friday and Sunday. We get to now officially pull Doc. He does not need to run again.
They did ask me, and I was like, "No, I'm not running him.
This is silly. We'll just pull him.
Oh, 2 in a weekend because never say never. But I did say when we were talking about how do the dogs feel, everything, and I said, well, I've never felt more confident in a dog than East until Doc, and East got a 201. With a little bit of that luck, right? His duck hit the winger, broke a wing. He ends up retrieving it by the wing. So he's coming out of the water and the duck's like half ripped off wing is all he has. And, it's like, nope, just get over here. And, that little bit, he got a 201 instead of a 204. But I felt as good as I felt about a dog in a long time with Doc. He hit his stride pretty good.
Absolutely. Coming into Sunday.
So I didn't risk it for another 2. I was like,
yeah.
Let's just end on the high note. It doesn't do him any good. It doesn't do anything.
No, had Doc around on Sunday, he could requalify again or have a weird day that then ends up being on the test record that he screwed something up on Sunday,
right?
Which is unnecessary. It's unnecessary from a time standpoint. It's unnecessary from a stress standpoint. It's unnecessary from all of the pieces.
Yeah, but, and I'm sure the judges would have been fine with it, but I personally would have felt a little bit like, why
are we wasting
I don't want to waste their, their energy to go out there and they would have happily done it, but it just would have been, I think in my opinion as a handler, it would have been a little tacky to run a 204.
What else are you looking for here, Charles? What else are you looking for? So on Sunday, Thunder and Onyx, we're going to roll through this together because I'd say it was more similar.
They were much more normal themselves.
Yeah.
So came out of the box more normal. Their field searches, the way they hunted, they handled, everything was way more normal. And I was like, thank you. Just because it means hopefully the whole day goes how their training goes. I mean, these dogs have done, leading up to the test, they were doing most of a utility test every couple days. I know what normal is, and normal looks really good. So normal makes me happier.
Their field runs were both basically flawless. There was no Onyx hiccups. He ran great. Pointed
much
at
better.
Birds, was very steady. There were no issues. Birds were killed better. I'm gonna chalk that up to I had a new gunner. I'm poking you, Rich, again. No, but it was a more normal day because there was not the same amount of dew. Every bird flew more like a normal bird would fly. They flushed very easily. They came out of the grass. There was not the same amount of dew. The dogs were not as close to the birds. All of the pieces was just a more normal run for the field standpoint. It was also cooler. So the dogs weren't getting hot. Any of those pieces there wasn't that high humidity, warm heat kind of crap. It was just a really nice spring, summer training morning. I think the high for the day was 75 degrees. It was almost 60 degrees first thing in the morning, but not the same dew point. So birds were feeling good, dogs were feeling good, and they handled really, really well.
It was the best, weather-wise, best day of the test,
It
for
was.
sure. It was really nice.
They moved into their drags, same as on Friday in an order standpoint.
Yep. I don't believe that either one of them. I'm just double checking. You would think I would know exactly where it is on the.
It's a lot of scores on a lot of things.
Yeah. Neither one of them had any issues. Onyx stayed right on. They both stayed right on them and ran down and picked them up.
More normal scenting conditions. They ran right out, picked their ducks up, brought them right back, got 4s in their drags.
Thunder was very happy to do his drag. As I was leading him up to the feather pile before he even dropped his head down, so I wasn't prepared. He just, whoop, there he goes. I was like, all right, well, you got it, buddy.
Yeah. From that, moved right into duck search again.
Yep.
And Thunder, a totally different dog.
Totally different.
He took off, hit the first island, came back, hit the first island, hit the second island, came like a small loop back past, cut back out.
Kind of looked at me like, hey.
Yeah, do you need? Nah,
No.
Screw it. Goes to the next islands. He's clearing the back, searching like a maniac, and covered a good portion of them. Did not find a duck in the event. They said, we've seen enough. He's covered everything out here. All we're doing at this point is, killing time. He's completed everything he needs to. Go ahead and call him. He comes back. He did extremely well in his duck search. What happened to Onyx?
So it took him down there. I sent him, and again, he took off. Everything looked great. He
Well, to one thing, had Thunder's duck search. This is part of the test that's so difficult. Had his duck search on Sunday been applied to his test on Friday, he'd have ended up with a more or less in the 200 plus category.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no hiccups anywhere in his entire day on Sunday.
just the regrip thing would have probably been all he had.
Well, with the Sunday in the duck search portion.
Yeah.
And there were no hiccups in the rest of the test on Friday.
Yeah.
So you smash that duck search in on Friday, and you're in that same category of 200 plus prize one dog.
Yeah. I was surprised I didn't know exactly where the duck. I know I call it Doc's Cove because it's Doc's favorite place to go.
Yeah.
It was somewhere back there, but how he searched, I'm not sure if it got away or got up on land or.
Interesting thing about it though is the wind was different. So we rarely get a north wind.
Yep.
On summer training days. We get predominantly southeast winds, and that completely changes how they're going to try to use their nose to approach the process. And when you think about running in the field, they try and work on downwind swings and then work back into the wind. And that pulls them to the non-searchable portion of the pond. They have to almost work harder to get back into the pieces because they're working with the wind at their back the whole way.
I was just once he got off of the Beaver Dam Island, he went kind of that way, and I was like, "Oh, here we go. We're gonna have a duck out." And he popped back out somewhere. I couldn't. Once they get past that back in there, I mean, it's just nothing but dead trees and islands
tall
in the
grass,
way, and you got to kind of go down a little bit and up the bank to be able to see. So I was listening, trying to see. I'm like, "Where is he?" But. Nope, they had me call him, and when they had me call him, I could see where he was. He was kind of back in the cove that's more on the left-hand side, searching.
That's good. So Onyx,
he did it a little different. Because on the first day he went straight to the island on the left. Today he went, and again it may have been that wind because he swam by the first island with his head up, you could tell he was smelling, and went nope. And then he got to the second island on the right, and he got up and a quick swipe on the back third of it. Nothing here, launched off. Kind of similar to what Thunder did, kind of started swimming back and looking at me, and then turned and went and took off. He ended up kind of going into the area where he'd found a duck on the test previously. And then he swam across that cove, which put him on the same shore as me. And I was like, dude, go the other way. Please go the other way.
Yeah.
And it can be when you have cooperative dogs, when you have, they can kind of get closer to you and be on the same shore and go, oh, there you are. Oh, good to see you. What do you need something from me? And it's like, I don't need anything. And he actually worked quite a bit of cover on the shore, working his way back to me. And he ended up at heel and tried moving my legs a little bit, and he's kind of moving around a little bit, but he never did. Basically, he had done enough work that they had a score they were comfortable with, and me actually saying fetch and having him go again wasn't going to probably help them. I didn't ask, but my assumption is that they saw what they saw, and if I was going to resend him, it wasn't going to help him. It could only possibly hurt him, is what I'm assuming, because they just said, thank you.
So he made a pretty good search through things, not completely covered everything, ended up getting sucked back into you and stood there waiting for direction, which is not optimal.
Yeah.
And had he moved on from there in a reasonable amount of time, short period of time on his own, and continued out searching, that would have completely changed how that looked.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. He essentially, I mean, for lack of a better term, quit.
Right.
And said
why he did it is people hear quit and they go, oh, the desire or this or that. I mean, that's not him.
It's just cooperation. It's like, I'm here.
Just tell me.
Yeah. Tell me what you want me to do. And that portion of the test requires a lot of independence. And a lot of our dogs, we attempt to breed cooperative dogs. And that is a place that they tend to fall short on, saying, I need you to independently do this and forget that you're cooperative for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up with a 3 in his duck search.
Yep. Which was, I definitely had to take a breath before because again, I'm back to back in it. So I don't even have time to, I feel fairly good about Thunder scores right now. So now I have to come off of a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the amount of work that the boys and I have put in, I'm like, they are crushing it. And it's like, it took a lot of like woosah to try to put that out of my head and then go and handle Thunder, because I believe at the time, I thought for sure he's still in it.
Very solid.
Generally, if they say, go ahead and call your dog on duck search, you're probably okay.
If they're not standing next to you.
Yeah, that's true. If they're out
not
searching
next to you. Yeah, go ahead and leash him up. Yeah,
well, I don't know, because I'm not judging and I am a handler and I don't see everything. I had the nerves, and then I have the disappointment of Onyx's duck search. Again, I don't know the score, but I clipped him up standing at heel. Generally isn't a good sign for your score.
Sure.
So, it's like, gotta just put that in the back of the head and go to the next dog, because I do think we had a lunch break, so that helped a little bit.
And then after that, move into the final portion of the test, which is remain and healing.
Yep.
He healed fine.
Yep.
He sat and he remained fine.
Did all that. Yep.
Looked flawless. And I can hear the chanting. Sitting there with everybody else. We're kind of watching. You can kind of see what's going on. And I'm like, oh, he's got this. And I'm like, not yet. Not yet. There's a lot of pieces left here. The duck has to be launched. He has to remain. He has to retrieve the duck. And with that north wind, the way the duck gets launched, this is not an excuse. This is an explanation of what happened. Here it comes, folks. The duck got drifted like within a foot of where it was thrown from by the time he gets sent and swims all the way out there. So now he's got the duck and he is on land instantly.
Basically, yep.
And because, again, I talked about our remain pond, our marked pond is the same as our duck search pond. Here's an island, and he goes to make a loop around the island and then comes back, and he's maybe frustrated from not finding. I don't know what's going on in Thunder's brain. Maybe frustrated from not getting to find a duck in his duck search that he just completed not very long ago or whatever, but he starts munching.
And he was holding the duck, and he went to the back of the island, and you could see him looking at like where all the really cool duck searchy stuff is.
Like, ooh,
and
that looks like
I
more
was like,
fun
if
right
he
now.
gets in the water, I'm gonna have to call him, but I trust him that he's gonna get it out of his system. Okay, I'm making a mental note. Now I'm gonna go deliver this, and I'll be back out there in a minute.
And he comes off the island, and then he's just munching.
And he had it by the
munching,
neck, which makes it even
munching,
worse. Just the whole way back.
Which is not a thing. It's not a thing he does. It's not like, where did it come from? This is the whole thing that we're talking about. So many pieces have to come together in one day. It's like, where did this come from? What level of frustration or confusion or just energy release, or what is this? And he was too hard on the duck.
Yep. He didn't destroy it or anything, but just the manners weren't there.
Yeah. And then you had to handle him.
No. I didn't say a single. He did regrip it when he got out of the water, but I didn't have to say anything to him.
He earned a 2.
And he earned a 2.
Which is not prize 1 work.
Yep.
Finish that out with a 198 prize 2.
Yep.
It's a tough thing. Putting all the pieces together, doing all the things. So when we talk about a 204 prize 1 out of dock, it's insane. When we go 1,000 dogs, maybe 25 to 30% get prize 1s, and of that, 10% maybe get the 204 score, approximately somewhere in that vicinity. It's a very small percentage to do it. Moving to Onyx, coming off of that 3 in duck search, and he kind of got loose. He dinked in his heeling.
Yeah, I had to give him a correction in heeling.
And it I don't want to say fell apart, but the wheels start coming off at the end, and that could be a sense of him reading handler in a frustration zone, knowing what just happened with Thunder. Could be anything. I mean, you're human, he's a dog. All of these pieces come together, and you already know he's out. And this is the last piece. He gets up there to do his remain portion. He handled fine, but he was loose. He's about ready to go. You sent him verbally because he was kind of looking like he was going.
Yeah.
And
I'm not going out there going, oh, he's not, I'm going to take these. No, I want to get all of the forwards I can on the card. Like, correct. I want to do the best that I can. So I'm not going to just stand there and be like, whatever, he's already, I'm just going to move.
His duck drifted to the same area. He picked it up. He got on the island. You handled him. All of these pieces start going dink, dink, dink. And he ended up again with a very high 190 prize 2.
Yeah,
it's a very high score. He went 191 prize 2, 190 prize 2, and lost points in similar but different areas.
Yeah. So he got a 3 in healing and a 3 in the duck retrieve because I had to call him back off the island.
Yeah.
And that starts the what ifs, in my head.
How do I handle this differently? How could I have done something slightly different to help him? Could the setup have been different? Maybe if the ducks had been thrown on the opposite side so they didn't drift back into land. Had they been in open water, would that have been? But we prepped and trained.
We trained it. We launched them so they landed a foot off the island, and
they handled it perfectly.
Doc was the only one that tried to go on land. The other 2 boys grabbed it, turned around, came back. Never even. And I'll never know, but it's a what if forever, and because I had 100% faith that he was going to come back to me with the duck, and he did. I didn't have to say anything to him. He got back in the water with the duck, but I read it the same as you. He seemed like he wanted to. He's like, no, I duck search to find ducks, and I didn't get to do that. And I'm looking at my duck search water, and just seemed frustrated. I don't know. That's the only way I can describe it. I mean, it's probably putting more of a human emotion to a dog, but that's the best way to describe it.
I think so. And you can probably sense the tone of this part of the conversation as being disappointed. And you may be listening going, 198 prize 2 is a disappointment. 190 prize 2 is a disappointment. 191 prize 2s are disappointments. Our expectation is to get prize 1s, and we will continue to try harder. Find better ways to train, find better ways to help approach and prepare dogs. If you're not learning, you're not trying. And all we can do is take weekends like this and go, is there a better way that we can teach and develop dogs? And as we learn these things and apply them to the young dogs, they get better and better and better.
Our steadiness shows it.
If you move back a few years, we got 180 prize 1s where you played the best, like Prize 1 dog handler with a Prize 3 dog kind of category. You did all of the pieces that helped the dogs to be successful
like 4,
where they
3,
needed
3,
to be.
3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3.
Yeah. And then you look at these cards and they are loaded with 4s with some baby mistakes where maybe you didn't expect it, or maybe that might be their weakness due to the improvement in training happened after some of the damage was done from the early development stuff. I don't know.
And my disappointment in it is not in the score. It is not in them. It's in me. Like, I want to do better, and I missed something, or some. I don't know. It's where is it? Where is it at? We got to figure it out, and I want to get the best score that I can. And I know that they can do it. So what did I not do?
Yeah. Again, we said the dogs are ready. The dogs can do all of the pieces. Can they put it together in one day? It's no different. People have seen me at events, and I have been accused at times of poor sportsmanship because I look frustrated, or I look disappointed in the fact that my dog didn't pass, or my dog didn't prize as high as I expected. And they view that as me blaming judges or me blaming whatever. And I'm quiet and look frustrated because I'm internally already calculating, how do I prepare better? I'm already have moved past, this is what happened today. I can't change that. It's not the first test that I've ran. I go, what do I need to do? What mistake did I make? How do I improve? And that level of pressure that I put on myself and you put on yourself, is how we continue to get better.
And it's like that duck landing there and them getting on the island. I was like, we just did this, basically set this up.
Thursday.
What happened between then and now?
Or Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Like that.
That we tried to tempt them to get on the island with
That's what
the
you
duck.
said. You said, do you want just hand thrown? I'm like, no, we're going to use this winger and we're going to throw them, and they're going to not be as easy and whatever. We're going to do these pieces to challenge them. So it's all you can do. Yes, have fun with it. We have fun with it. It is enjoyable to do well. It's enjoyable to see. Like, it is cool to be in a zone that a 198 Prize 2 is frustrating.
Yeah.
There is a time that I would have gone, holy crap, I did it. I got a Prize 2. Maybe next time I'll get a Prize 1. But now we're in that zone where all we can do is strive to do better.
Yeah. And if, like you said at the beginning, had this been, Thunder's very first test, it would have been like, heck yeah, man, that was great. Like, he did when we're still shooting for Prize 1s all the time, but like first time out in a utility test, that's where some things you may see some.
We learned something about the dog.
Right.
Yeah.
This was frustrating in the sense that I felt like we could have set him up to be not flawless, because it's going to be tough, but to be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was better, just not better enough for me.
Well,
and that's a me problem.
Yeah, I understand. It's a me problem too. It's been a fun road. It's been good to share these pieces. I hope that you guys have benefited from seeing where they were at, talking through the process, talking through how the development was going and how we continue to change training, and that we were successful with the dogs all the way around. We still have more work to go. Thunder will not get another opportunity to attempt to requalify before the Invitational. We'll know after the Invitational. Knock on wood, we don't need it, but we'll know after the Invitational if he needs to attempt to requalify. We might be able to squeak him in sometime in the fall, or we'll just go again in 2027. We'll attempt to run him in the spring when it works. All of these are options, and then at some point in time we go, you've had enough chances. You're a master hunter. You're a utility Prize 1 dog. That's pretty dang good. It is what we do, though. It gives them something to do in the off season. It gives you something to train for and work for with your dogs. Testing and trialing, I do hear, I don't need a field trial dog. Well, it is a fun activity that you can help your dog to be the best dog that they can be, and that leaks very heavily into the fall, which makes ultimately what I love, what you love, going hunting, running the dogs, like this much better. Saying that there is a different bar. We can hold you to a higher standard and then take that into what used to be, we kind of green steady dogs and then go kill birds. Now we've got dogs that are truly handleable to an entirely different level. So
I can assure you that I've had 8 utility / VC dogs on the ground at one time, and it is very, very nice and very relaxing.
That's
you
cool.
Don't have to worry about much.
Absolutely. Well, we've enjoyed sharing this with you folks. Please throw comments down below if you would like more information about pieces. If you have ideas specifically on different things you'd like us to discuss from a training standpoint or a development standpoint or breaking down anything. We're trying to share everything that happens at Standing Stone in this format. I hope you enjoyed. I'm the guy with the pink gun.
Just Charles.
We'll catch you in the next one.